Learn English, speak confidently with Inkwell Stories. Hello, everyone. I'm Emma, and welcome back to Learn English with Real Conversations. Today's topic is something we all struggle with sometimes. Laziness. Yes, that feeling when you know you should do something, but you just don't feel like it.
Oh, yes, Emma. I know that feeling too well. Sometimes I plan to clean my room or start a new project, and suddenly I find myself scrolling on my phone for an hour.
Exactly. That's why today we're going to talk about how to beat laziness and feel more motivated in real simple English. If you want to stay productive, improve your habits, and feel proud of yourself, this episode is definitely for you.
Before we start, could you please give this episode a like and follow our channel? Your support really helps us make more useful English lessons like this one.
Thank you so much. Now, let's dive in. And remember, we all feel lazy sometimes, but today we'll learn how to overcome it step by step.
So, Emma, let's start from the beginning. Why do people feel lazy? Sometimes I wake up in the morning full of energy, and sometimes I just don't want to do anything. I wonder if there's a real reason behind it, or if it's just because I'm not motivated enough.
That's a really good question, Alex. Actually, laziness is not always about being careless or unmotivated. Sometimes it's connected to how our body and mind work. When we feel tired, stressed, or even a little sad, our brain tries to protect us by saying, "Don't do that now, let's rest."
So, you're saying it's not just a bad habit, it's more like a natural reaction.
Exactly. Our brains love comfort. They want to save energy and avoid pain or effort. For example, if you think about cleaning your house or studying for an exam, your brain immediately thinks, "Oh, that's a lot of work." So instead of starting, it tells you to do something easier, like watching videos or checking your phone.
That's me every weekend. I plan to do something productive, but I somehow end up watching random YouTube videos for hours. It's like my brain always finds an excuse.
Don't worry, Alex. We all do that. It's part of being human. You see, laziness often hides something deeper, sometimes fear, sometimes overwhelm. For example, if you have a big project, you might feel scared that it won't be perfect, so you keep delaying it. Or if there's too much to do, your brain feels confused and gives up before even starting.
That's interesting. I never thought about fear being part of laziness. But it's true. When I have a big task, I feel nervous. It's like my brain says, what if I can't do it well? And that thought makes me stop before I even try.
Exactly. That's called procrastination, when you delay something important because it feels uncomfortable. And here's something funny. The more we delay, the worse we feel. We feel guilty for not doing it, and that guilt makes it even harder to start. It becomes a big circle of, I don't want to start, I feel bad, I want to avoid it even more.
Yes, I know that circle too well. Sometimes I tell myself, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. But when tomorrow comes, I find a new excuse. After a few days, I feel guilty and stressed.
That's completely normal. The good news is, once you understand why you feel lazy, you can change your approach. Laziness is often just your mind asking for clarity, rest, or smaller steps.
So instead of feeling bad about it, we should try to listen to ourselves and see what's really happening.
Exactly. Sometimes you just need rest, and that's okay. But sometimes you're not really tired. You're just mentally stuck because you don't know where to start. That's when breaking a task into smaller parts can help.
That makes sense. For example, when I tell myself, I have to study for 5 hours, it feels impossible. But when I say, I'll just read one chapter,
it suddenly feels easier.
Perfect example. That's how our brain works. It likes small goals. When a goal feels small, the brain says, okay, that's not so scary. But when it feels too big, it activates resistance. So the key is to make things feel easy to start.
That's very interesting, Emma. I also noticed that I feel lazier when I don't sleep well or eat junk food. Maybe it's not just about the mind, but also about how healthy our body feels.
You're absolutely right. Physical health affects motivation a lot. If you don't sleep enough, your energy level drops. And when your energy is low, even simple tasks feel too hard. The same happens when you eat too much sugar or processed food. You get a short burst of energy and then feel tired again.
So, good rest and healthy food can actually make us less lazy?
Yes, it's like giving fuel to your brain and body. When you take care of yourself, your brain doesn't fight you as much. It becomes easier to focus, start things, and keep going.
That's so true. I remember when I started exercising regularly, I felt more active in everything, even studying or cleaning. It's funny how one small habit can change so much.
Exactly. And here's another reason people feel lazy: lack of purpose. When you don't have a clear reason why you're doing something, your mind doesn't feel motivated. You need to connect your actions to something meaningful.
Like, if I know that studying English will help me travel or get a better job, I'll feel more motivated to practice every day.
Yes, purpose gives you emotional energy. When your heart agrees with your goals, laziness loses power. That's why we should remind ourselves often, why am I doing this? What will it give me in the future?
That's really inspiring, Emma. So, laziness isn't something we should hate. It's something we should understand because it tells us something important.
Exactly. Laziness is like a message from your brain. It's saying, I'm tired, or I'm scared, or I'm confused. Once you know what message it's sending, you can respond in a healthy way by resting, simplifying, or starting small.
I love that idea. Instead of judging ourselves, we should be kind and curious. Maybe that's the first real step to beating laziness.
Yes, Alex. Understanding yourself is always the first step to changing yourself. And in the next part, we'll talk about how to turn small actions into big progress so you can finally beat laziness in your daily life.
All right, Emma. So now that we understand why we feel lazy, let's talk about the big question. How can we actually stop being lazy and start doing things? Because honestly, I know what I should do, but most of the time, I still don't do it.
That's a great question, Alex, and I think many people feel exactly the same way. We know what we want. Maybe it's to study English, exercise more, or work on a project, but we feel too tired or too busy to start. The secret is not about forcing yourself. It's about making it easy to start.
Making it easy to start? What do you mean by that?
Well, our brain doesn't like big or scary goals. If I tell myself, I'm going to write a whole essay today, my brain says, no way, that's too much work. But if I tell myself, I'll just write for 5 minutes, it suddenly feels simple and safe.
Oh, so you trick your brain into starting with something small.
Exactly. This is called the 5-minute rule. You promise yourself to do a task for just 5 minutes. Most of the time, once you begin, you continue because starting is the hardest part. It's like pushing a heavy car. The first push is hard, but once it moves, it keeps rolling easily.
I love that idea. I've noticed that when I actually start studying, I can keep going for an hour. But when I think about starting, I feel tired immediately.
Yes, that's exactly how motivation works. Action comes before motivation, not after. Many people wait to feel ready before they start, but motivation only comes once you begin.
So it's not I'll start when I feel motivated, but I'll feel motivated after I start.
Exactly. That's the key to beating laziness. When you take action, even a small one, your brain releases dopamine, a chemical that makes you feel good. That's why, once you start doing something, you suddenly feel more motivated to continue.
That's fascinating. So, starting small can change how our brain feels about work. Do you have other techniques like that?
Yes, another powerful one is habit stacking. It means you connect a new habit to an old one. For example, if you want to read every morning, you can say, after I drink my coffee, I'll read for 10 minutes. Since you already have the habit of drinking coffee, the new habit becomes easier to remember.
That's clever. It's like building on something you already do naturally. I could say, after I brush my teeth, I'll study English for 10 minutes.
Exactly. And over time, it becomes automatic. You don't even have to think about it. It becomes part of your day. That's how small habits lead to big results.
I think many people also struggle with distractions. Sometimes I sit down to study and 5 minutes later I'm checking messages or social media. How can we stop that?
That's a great question. Distractions are one of the biggest enemies of productivity. One simple trick is to use the focused environment rule. That means before you start working, you prepare your space. Put your phone away, close unnecessary tabs, and keep your desk clean.
That really helps. I feel more focused when my desk is organized. When it's messy, I somehow feel lazy before even starting.
Yes, because your environment sends signals to your brain. If the space looks chaotic, your brain feels stressed and says, let's avoid this. But if it looks calm and clean, your brain feels ready to start.
Interesting. So, our surroundings can make us lazy or motivated.
Exactly. Another thing that helps is the reward system. After finishing a task, give yourself something small, like a cup of tea, a short walk, or your favorite song. It tells your brain, work feels good, so you'll want to do it again.
I love that idea. I used to think I shouldn't reward myself until I finish everything, but maybe it's better to reward small steps too.
Definitely. When you celebrate small wins, your brain connects effort with positive feelings. That's how you build momentum, by making work feel satisfying, not painful.
I also think breaking big tasks into small pieces helps a lot. When I have a huge project, I divide it into parts: research, outline, write introduction, and I focus on one step each day.
That's a perfect method. When we look at the whole project, it feels impossible, but one step feels simple. It's like climbing a mountain. You don't jump to the top, you just take one step at a time.
I like that image. And maybe it's also about accepting that small progress is still progress.
Exactly. People often give up because they think progress is too slow. But remember, consistency beats intensity. Doing a little every day is better than doing a lot once a month.
That's so true. When I study for 20 minutes every day, I learn more than when I try to study for 3 hours once a week.
Yes, because your brain loves routine. When you repeat small actions daily, they become habits. And habits don't need motivation, they become automatic.
So, to sum up, start small, prepare your environment, reward yourself, and stay consistent.
Exactly. And don't forget to be kind to yourself. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to start. Every small action you take brings you closer to the life you want.
That's so motivating, Emma. I already feel like I can do more just by hearing these ideas.
I'm so glad to hear that. And in the next part, we'll talk about how to keep this motivation for the long term, because staying consistent is where the real transformation happens. All right, Alex, now that we've talked about why we feel lazy and how small actions can help, let's move to something even more important. How can we stay motivated in the long term? Because it's easy to start strong, but it's much harder to keep going for weeks or months.
You're absolutely right.
I always start new habits full of energy, like studying English every morning or exercising. But after a week, I lose motivation. I tell myself, I'll do it tomorrow, and then I stop completely. Why does that happen?
That's very common, Alex. Our brains love new things, new goals, new challenges, new excitement. But when the excitement disappears, we need something deeper to keep going, and that's discipline and purpose.
Discipline sounds a bit scary. Does that mean I have to push myself all the time?
Not really. Discipline isn't about being hard on yourself. It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You don't always feel excited to do it, but you do it because you know it's important. That's what true discipline looks like: quiet, steady, and kind.
That makes sense. So motivation helps you start, but discipline helps you continue.
Exactly. And one of the best ways to build discipline is to have clear routines. When you plan your day, you remove the need to make decisions all the time. For example, if you decide, I'll study English every morning at 8 a.m., your brain gets used to it, and soon it becomes automatic.
I love that idea. When I have a routine, I don't waste time thinking, should I study now or later? I just do it. It feels lighter and more natural.
Exactly, Alex. And another important tip is to track your progress. When you see how far you've come, you feel proud and motivated to continue. You can use a notebook, an app, or even a simple calendar. Just mark every day you complete your habit. When you look back and see all those marks, it feels amazing.
That's true. I used to do that when I went jogging. I marked every day I ran, and I didn't want to break the chain. It really helped me stay consistent.
Yes, that's called the don't break the chain method. It's powerful because it makes your progress visible. Even on days when you don't feel motivated, you think, I don't want to lose my streak, and that helps you keep going.
That's so simple but so effective. I guess another problem is comparison. Sometimes I see other people doing more than me, and I start to feel like I'm not good enough. Then I lose motivation again.
That's such a great point, Alex. Comparison is one of the biggest motivation killers. When you compare your progress to others, you forget how far you've come. Everyone has a different path, a different speed, and a different story. The only person you should compare yourself to is the past you.
That's a great reminder. Maybe I should start saying, I'm doing better than yesterday instead of they are doing better than me.
Exactly. And remember, growth is not always visible. Sometimes you're changing on the inside. You're becoming more patient, more focused, more confident. That's progress too, even if no one else can see it.
That's really comforting. I think many people forget that personal growth takes time. We expect quick results, and when we don't see them, we feel lazy again.
Yes, and that's why patience is so important. Real change doesn't happen in one day. It happens step by step. If you focus on doing your best today, the results will come naturally later. Think of it like planting a seed. You don't see the flower right away, but every day you water it, and one day it blooms beautifully.
That's such a beautiful example. I think I'll start seeing my goals like that. Small seeds that need care every day.
Exactly. And there's one more important thing: your environment of people. If you spend time with people who are lazy or negative, you'll naturally feel less motivated. But if you're around people who are positive, active, and encouraging, you'll start to act like them.
Yes, I noticed that too. When my friends are studying or working hard, I feel inspired to do the same. Energy really spreads from one person to another.
Absolutely. That's why finding a supportive community is so important. It can be friends, classmates, or even an online group. When you share your progress, get advice, or simply talk about your goals, you feel more connected and motivated.
That's true, and maybe one day we can be that motivation for someone else by sharing what helped us.
Exactly, Alex. Helping others is one of the strongest motivators in life. When you teach or inspire someone, you also remind yourself of your own strength.
That's such a powerful thought, Emma. So, to stay motivated in the long term, we should build discipline, follow routines, track progress, avoid comparisons, be patient, and surround ourselves with positive people.
Perfect summary, Alex. And remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. Every small step counts, even when it feels slow. Progress is still progress.
I really love that message. I think everyone listening to us can take something useful from this conversation.
I hope so too. And if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast for more English learning and motivation tips. You can also find a free PDF with today's transcript and a vocabulary list in the description below, so you can read, learn, and practice what you heard.
Yes, make sure to download it and practice the new words we use today. Words like discipline, routine, purpose, progress, patience, and consistency. They'll help you not only understand the episode better, but also improve your English and your mindset.
Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Remember, don't wait for motivation. Create it. Take small steps every day, and you'll be amazed at how far you can go.
See you next time, and keep moving forward.
Bye for now.